Welcome to the November CapMac Users Group meeting. So we have some visitors, and Nancy, and we've had them introduced, I think. Do we have any visitors that haven't introduced themselves tonight? All right, our members.
We have one more, John, but I think she's shy. My girlfriend's there, Carolyn, but she's not, I don't think she's talking.
Well, the more the merrier. I am glad we've got so many visitors tonight.
I'm sorry, I'm here. I'm also working at the same time. I'm sorry.
Well, welcome to the meeting, and I hope you think it's worthwhile.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
So we're up to 57 active members right now, according to Tom. We are active on social media, website, Twitter, Facebook. We have a YouTube channel, and we have a Slack group that's somewhat active. The YouTube channel contains the recordings of all of the meetings that we've done since April. So if you'd like to go back and look at some of those, you can follow that link and get to our channel and view those recordings. Tonight, we're going to have a program that is put together by Nancy. It's going to look at the new iOS 14 features, and we have a multitude of CapMac members who are going to participate and talk about various aspects of iOS 14. First, though, let me introduce the board. It hasn't changed since last month, but just so that you know who everyone is, here we are. Our October general meeting, just so that you are aware, if you weren't there, we had a good program by Craig on developing a DNA testing plan for your genealogical exploration. Again, that is recorded and is on our YouTube channel if you want to go back and view it. Looking ahead to the future meetings, in December, we're going to have our annual holiday program, and it's going to be, once again, provided by Dr. Mac Levitas. In January, we're working on getting a HomeKit presentation together. I'm waiting on a response from someone to be our speaker for that. And in February, we have a commitment by William Gallagher and Mike Werthel from Apple Insider to give a presentation. I don't have a topic yet for that presentation, but we'll have it in the weeks ahead. As always, we're looking for members to contribute. We have many doing that tonight, giving their presentation. So if you in the future are interested in talking about some software that you have discovered that works on the Mac or the iPad or the iPhone, you have a tech tip, you have a product review, let us know and we'll work that into our meetings. Because the more participation we have from our members, the better it is. We would like to get your input in general. We've been doing a variety of topics here on our meetings: genealogy, 5G, networking. We had someone speak from a couple of different podcasts on technical aspects of the Mac. What would you like to see covered in a future general meeting? Let us know by email. Is there a speaker you would like us to try to get to speak to CapMac? Again, let us know so we can try to reach them. And we've had one special meeting since we were shut down because of the virus. Nancy had led that a couple of months ago. Is there another special interest type of topic you would like to see covered at one of our meetings? Send us an email so that we can start trying to recruit a speaker or work up a program along those lines. We still are working the help desk, though virtually now. So if you have a question, let us know. You can either send it to President of CapMac and I'll get it to them. There's a channel in the Slack group for the help desk as well. So try to bring up the questions you might have, and we'll try to get you the answers. We had a gentleman last month visit us from the London Mac user group. I was fortunate to participate in their latest podcast recording, and it was just released, I think, a day or so ago. So if you're interested in finding out about Apple products from a different perspective, you might try looking at their podcasts. They do general topics like we are, as well as help kind of issues. So you may find something there that you've been looking for. So until that brings us up to the program. But before I do that, we have one thing left, and that is the election that closed last night. Tom or Nancy, which one of you want to report the results of that?
Tom has the data.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That's in my email. I got to turn sound off. Sound is off. I don't know what the. Okay.
That's better.
We got, it's not better. I don't know what's wrong.
No.
I've got sound off on one computer. It should only be picking up on the other one.
You've got a number of folks that aren't muted.
I got it. I got it. I muted it. All right. We had a bunch of ballots come in, a couple more today. We had 20 ballots. I got busy on some other stuff and I forgot to look at them all today, but I think every one of them was for the slate that was proposed by the board, by the nominations committee.
Well, very good. Well, thank you for all that effort, Tom. Any questions about that?
How do we know that
And-
doesn't need a recount?
Oh,
No recount, no recounts.
You can start a fundraiser to get the funds for a recount for a court challenge.
Just joking.
But you'll have to join the board.
Never
Maybe-
mind,
maybe-
never mind.
Maybe Tom should announce the winners.
Okay. All right. Minimize that. Let me get, I'll make that shrink there. And get to my mail. Okay. 12. 21 votes. So winners are President John Purvis, Vice President Nancy Gravley, Secretary Bill O'Barr, Treasurer Tom Weaver, Board members Cokie Craig, Robert Frazier, and Jim Wynn.
Thank you for that report, Tom. So just let me ask of the group here, is there anyone that has anything else to raise up and ask before we go on to our main program? Well, hearing no one, I'm going to turn this over to Nancy and let her do the main program she has prepared for the evening. So I'm going to stop my screen sharing.
All right, thank you, John. iOS 14 and iPod 14 were released. Well, it's been a few weeks now since they were released, but there are so many absolutely cool features in this new version of the iOS that we decided that we want to give an overview of the ones that we think are really important. And actually, in spite of the fact that we have a number of participants tonight, we still haven't covered all of them. And we may be presenting them some additional ones in the meetings as more like a tech tip, because you can only cover so much in one night. And there's so much, like I said, available. I'm going to start this out, and then the order is not exactly what John had on his screen because I didn't tell him different. But we're going to go through these tips, and we're not going to expect you to know how to do all these things after we get through talking about them, because it's too much to take in, all at once. But our presentations are going to be put on PDF and given to Robert and put up on our webpage as soon as everybody gets theirs together. So you'll be able to go back and review if there's something you really want to know how to do, or you want to know what you want to know more about. So let's see how good I can do with opening my screen, my share screen. And see, I have no excuse here because Robert actually walked me through this. Oh, here we go.
Tell me how to get my big picture off and see Nancy. I don't see Nancy.
Click
Well, I'm
on,
gonna be showing my screen anyhow, so it won't matter.
Okay.
there's
Oh,
a
where
difference
is it?
between gallery view and speaker view. If you can find where it says gallery and click, you'll have speaker and vice versa. You can play with it. It's up in the upper right corner on my window.
Okay, I'll be looking. I'm gonna mute
Don't
it.
worry, it won't explode. You can click that button all you want.
All right, I can't find my slideshow. All your training was in vain, Robert. It worked the other day, but it's not showing up as one of the options under share, but it's on my desktop. So let me, any unrequested device is welcome.
I mean, are you just trying to share your screen at this point?
Yep.
Well,
And
sure.
I've got screen share open, but my slideshow's not listed.
Well, it won't be listed. You have to just open your slideshow on your screen.
But I can't get to it.
Well, you
Because-
double click where it says desktop up there when you share your screen in the top left, and then just do your work with your computer. And
If you're in full screen mode, Nancy, you may have to put your cursor down at the bottom so you can see your dock to bring it up.
Well, I've tried that, but and I'm not really in full screen because I didn't want to be able to not find it.
Okay.
Nancy?
Yes.
I could start with the maps thing while you look for it, if that would make you happier.
That would just make me as happy as can be, but your slideshow's on mine. Do you need access to it?
I got a copy of what I sent you. So let me
Okay.
try and share a screen,
right.
see if I can do it, and that gives you time to go look.
Okay, Ginger Hansel is going to talk about using the new guides and the routes and the other information that's available in the new maps.
So is that, can y'all see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes.
And you know, when Nancy asks you to kind of do something like this, my first reaction was like, I don't know anything about maps, but it's a good excuse to just read up on it a little. It's not that intimidating. And now I know a little bit more than I did before. So I appreciate her asking, and I'm just telling y'all to not be afraid if she asks you to do something. One thing that I didn't know when I started looking, you know, the icon changed when they went to the new maps program, and this little circle is part of the spaceship campus. You know, Apple has that brand new campus. And so I just thought, well, that's kind of cool. And you can see that the Apple, pardon? No, did she?
I think
Looks like Nancy found her stuff.
Nancy,
Oh, okay. Well, then I can just go back and let.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just
No,
trying
it's
to figure out-
okay. It's okay. You have some stuff you're leading into. Let me escape out of that, and you do it.
Well,
I was just buying you time.
And I absolutely appreciate that. But let me see if I can, oh gee.
I could
Robert, you're just gonna have to fail me.
Just drag your screen up, just in the gray
Their
area.
screen's down at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Grab Keynote. No, not that far down.
go in the gray area there at the top, right there. No,
Up a little
up,
higher.
up
The
a little.
light gray.
The light, yeah. Right there.
Okay.
Click and drag it up.
Oh,
There.
There.
a round of applause, please. Okay. Sorry about that. We really did practice and I just thought I knew it. We are going to be talking about the cool new features for both iOS 14 and iPadOS 14 because there are some differences. Most of what we talk about will be, you can use it on either version. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is access to AFPS encrypted drives in the files. Most of us, frankly, are not going to use this. Most of us don't even know what it is. But what it is the Apple file system, the default file system for Mac computers using 10.13 or later. And it has some special features like stronger encryption, space sharing, snapshots, that sort of thing. And the main reason just for bringing this up is so that those people who know how to do this know that the option is there. And for those who want to expand their knowledge base, also to know that it's there because it is as I understand it from talking to some of my real techie friends, that this is a big deal. You can plug the drive into your iPhone or your iPad with a USB-C or Lightning connector, and then open the Files app and it's done. So that's just an announcement that this feature is there. The second one.
Hey, Nancy, you could hit
Yes.
play, that little play button right up above, and then you can just click the mouse to move
Oh, you
forward.
mean like a real slideshow? Oh, okay. Oh, folks, I've been trying to teach third grade math and my mind is just, it's just, you can't deal with it. Okay, the compact UI is a really cool new feature. What Apple has done is shrunk some of the screen hogging features in the new iOS. And when you receive a phone call now, instead of it taking up your whole screen, it comes across the top in just a little banner right across the top where you can click and accept or not accept the phone call. The same thing has to do with Siri. When Siri opens the swirly Siri globe that now appears at the bottom of the screen and answers appear in a box at the top of the screen. So you actually can look something up on Siri and not lose the place that you were working in when you went to look for the information. I find this a really cool new feature. If you're searching in iPadOS 14, it appears as a gray bar like the spotlight looks on your Mac. So this is a feature that I think a lot of people have looked forward to. It always startles me if I'm using my phone and all of a sudden I get a full screen picture of somebody that's calling me. So be aware that you can take advantage of this. Okay. Translate conversations. This is so cool. There's a new Translate app on your device. The app is over here in where it says Translator app icon. You have to turn your phone into horizontal position to be able to take advantage of translating. And you have 12 languages to choose from. Now, this is what it's going to look like. This is going to be my English version right here. And for this example, I've chosen Spanish. And when I say in English, where's the closest grocery store? It's going to give me that information in writing, but it's also going to give it to me verbally. So that if I have the skill, I could actually try and and speak it to the person who I'm asking for information. I've used this once since it came out, and it was so cool because I didn't have to in any way insult the person that I was trying to tell them what to do. And yet they understood what I was trying to tell them what to do. And I knew that they did. And it was just like, fine, thank you, drive through. I just think this is a fantastic feature. You actually don't have to use English on one side. You choose the language that you may want. And you can define any word by tapping the dictionary icon and then the word. And so it will actually tell you what that word, what the word means exactly in the language that you're translating into. Okay, so you also can download languages for offline translation, which is really cool. You can tap either the input or the output language at the top of the screen. You scroll down to available offline languages, tap the download icon on the language you want to use, and then to delete it, you swipe the language from right to left and tap delete. So it could not be any easier to use. The one thing that you have to remember to do is that you have to be able, if you have your phone set up so that it only works in vertical, you have to be sure that you can switch it to the long way, because this won't work in vertical screen. So I encourage you to try it out, to look and see all the things that you can do with it so that you'll have it when you need it, and appreciate the fact that Apple has given us this really cool tool, which doesn't cost us anything extra. Okay, now moving right along, Ginger. Ginger's going to talk about the Apple Maps. So I've got to get out of here.
So I'm going to share screen just so that I can drive. So I'm going to, I think, share my screen if I can do that. Hang on. Where did mine go now? Okay. There, can y'all see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, now I've got to play too. Thank you. So one thing I just wanted to say before we got started, I've got this bag of Apple chips in front of me because Apple announced their new Apple chip on their computers, and their announcement today was at noon, and it's recorded, and so you can watch it. And they also, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, had a whole thing about the new iPhones, and they're pretty exciting, and they have lots of interesting movies and graphics, and it's really cool. I don't know if we would do some sort of a compilation of some of the highlights for some of our meetings, but go check out those videos. So here you can see the two. This is an earlier phone that didn't have a lot of detail, and then Apple started overhauling their Maps program with iOS 13, and you can just see there's a lot of extra detail that they're now adding and trying to make it a real Maps program. And we've generally been a little biased against the Apple Maps just because Google had a head start, so their maps were more accurate. They started having maps in 2005. Apple just got serious about it in 2012. And now they collect their own data because the third-party data that they had been using had lots of, bad data. And I know they're collecting their own data because Peter and I were out walking in the neighborhood, and an Apple car came by taking pictures. So we thought it was a Google car, and nope, it's Apple. So right here in Austin. They also provide public transport, pedestrian tracking if you want to go somewhere by bike, by car, by transit. And for Austin Transit, they have real-time it'll tell you when you say where you want to go, when the buses are coming. I mean, they're linked in here in Austin. So that's kind of important. I'd like to take the bus more. I just don't always know where it's going and when it's going. So there are a lot more Android phones out there. And so in some ways the traffic apps, I mean, telling you where the street traffic is may be better in Google Maps just because there are more cars moving around with Androids on them reporting where they are and how fast they're going. But I think Apple is beginning to catch up. And what I really like is that if I have someone in my address book and I just click next to their name, because I'm going to drive to their house, it comes right up in Apple Map. And so now that Apple Maps gotten better, this is a real nice feature. Also, Siri gives better instructions now. Siri will say, turn at the next traffic light, whereas Google Maps says the next 1,000 feet. And sometimes people don't really have a good sense of that, how to gauge that distance. So that's an important improvement. Also, the new Apple Maps will tell you where the speed cameras are and suggest you slow down, which is also a nice feature. They have a flyover mode in an awful lot of cities where you can explore urban centers. Austin does have flyover. I was playing with it earlier. And you know, they'll have like a guide where you can kind of just sort of fly over a city. You can also, with your phone, just be looking down like you're up on top of a building and see all of the different streets below you. It's really kind of fun. And as we all know, Apple has better data and privacy philosophy than Google. Apple sells products and things, so they don't need to make as money on grabbing all your data and selling it to someone. Google is basically a marketing agglomerator, in my opinion. And so, you know, when something is free, you're the product. And so I think with Google, I don't really trust them. This information I got out of this Digital Trends. So if y'all want to read more, you can click there or get it out of the slides that'll be loaded, and you can explore some more. So a new thing that they have, which I got this out of Mac Rumors, is they now have city guides. And so if you want, this is California down here, you can click on San Francisco. You can click a button for a flyover. You can get directions. You can click in the guidebooks. It's this Lonely Planet guidebook. Find out best parks, you know, where food is, and you can actually make your own guide. And since we can't travel very easily now, this is a great way to plan where you're going to travel when we can in the future. Also with the cycling data, they show you where the bike lanes are, what the elevation is. So, you know, if you're riding uphill all the time, you can get your voice guidance through your Apple Watch, so you don't have to look down at a map while you're going. If you're driving an electric vehicle, it'll tell you where the charging stations are. And if your car's linked in, it'll tell you how soon you need a charge, how your battery's doing. In some cities, they have congestion zone tolls, and so the maps will reroute you around those areas. New maps are coming out for Canada, Ireland, and UK. Hopefully these will all be out by the time we can travel there. There are also a lot of maps of how the inside airports look. So if you're in an airport and trying to find something, there are maps. And also guides for recommendations to eat, meet friends, explore. And some areas don't have very good GPS signals, so they've come up with some location and orientation information to try and work around that. License plate data can be stored securely. Some places like China, you're not allowed to drive on certain days if you've got an odd number in your license plate or an even number at the end. It's just amazing the things that have been worked into a maps program. And as I said, red light, camera, and speed. And let's see, do I have any more? No, but what I was thinking is I could show y'all a, let's see, how do, can you still see my screen or do I have to share something else?
No, we can see it.
I'm good?
Mhm.
So this is just an example of a flyover. It's San Francisco. They do have a flyover for Austin. If you go to, maps, Austin, Texas, flyover, it'll be a little selection at the bottom of the screen. You can click it and fly over the Capitol, and you don't direct it. Somebody has already done it. This San Francisco, there was a YouTube, so it was easy for me to just know it would work. Somehow when you get the map up and you do the flyover, it seems to be there when you first go into the city, and then the flyover disappears. And so I couldn't count on it being there to show off.
There's
So
the baseball stadium.
yeah, so it's just a different way to get a sense of the city, and a lot of cities have these flyovers and these guidebooks now, and you can see how it's filtering in on the side as it goes. And I suspect it's generated. It doesn't look like real pictures because I didn't see a lot of cars or people, but it's a pretty cool way to visit. And anyone have anything about the Maps program that they have noticed that they want to share with people? Because I don't really, I haven't used all of the features. As Nancy said, this is just a high level flyover.
This is Cokie. I've used the transportation apps before and they're really, really good.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to stop sharing because it's somebody else's up next.
Thank you, Ginger. That was an excellent overview. And I will remind everybody even once that this stuff is going to be available on our website, so you don't have to worry about taking down long URLs. Okay, Next up is talking about things that are just for the iPad. And our presenter is Nathan Lott, who is our Vimeo expert, in addition to a person who trains a lot. So we appreciate his participation. Nathan?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, if you look at my thumbnail, you'll see an above shot too, just to demonstrate some of the other features. So one of the biggest features in iPadOS, well, let's go back a little bit to iOS 13.4, which added trackpad support.
I'm seeing beautiful water lilies. Am I on the wrong page?
No, Nathan, you're not sharing your screen, or not the right screen.
Yeah, the water lilies are pretty.
Yeah.
Really nice picture.
We can see your cursor.
Share screen. All right, can you see it now?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so back in 13.4, they added trackpad support. This is using the Apple trackpad. You can click on apps, and you notice that when you go to one of the buttons, the cursor changes to a square from the circle, or when you're in a note, you can see the cursor. But that is available in 13.4. In 14, one of the cool new features, if you have an Apple Pencil, is Scribble. So we'll go back into Notes. And I can just start writing on the screen.
I love that.
And if you mess up, you can just scratch over it and it goes away. And then also, if you want to add something, so you can also do it in cursive.
Cool.
If you, let's see, if I want to add something between writing and with, I just tap my pencil right in between and hold. Oops. And then you can add, insert text to it. If you want to select it, you just draw a line and you can select it. But then this works anywhere where you can write. So if you go into your search, your Spotlight search, and search for an app.
Oh. Yeah. Cool.
And then you can get that. You can also do it within Safari. So if I go to and then go straight to there. So it's just a way to, if you like using the pencil and you don't want to go back and forth between your hands and your or your typing and the pencil, then that works. But I don't see myself using this a whole lot. I think it's going to be like the external keyboard feature from a few years ago, where I used it maybe for the first year and not too much afterwards. But for some people, it may be exactly what you need to get things done. Widgets on the iPad are not as cool as on the iPhone because they're only available in either the sidebar. But if you don't want this sidebar, you can tap and hold and take off keep on home screen and then swipe it away. So you have that option. Or tap and hold until it jiggles and then turn it back on. So you can have it on the sidebar. Oh, one other thing is several apps now have sidebars. So if you're in Photos, it now has a sidebar. So I can take a photo and I can drag it, tap and hold, and then start dragging it into an album. And then drop it into the album. And those are just some of the new features in iPadOS. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Those are cool. And you know, everybody does not know how to touch type. And for people who are frustrated by that. Writing with the pencil is probably going to be a big asset. Nathan has. Go ahead.
This is Peter. I was just going to say, I was curious about using a pencil, but I didn't really want to plunk down the money for an Apple Pencil. And so I think, what was it? There was some, I think it was Amazon had some kind of, there's a day where they sell stuff for less. Anyway, I got a knockoff Chinese Apple Pencil for $20 just to try it out because I didn't know if I was going to use it long term. And it works really, really well. I'm surprised. I don't use it very much. It's one of those things I just thought I'd try out, see if it would work pretty well on my iPad Air, and it really does.
Gosh, how much is the actual Apple Pencil?
For the version 1, it's 99. For the version 2, it's like 129.
Good.
So $20 was a pretty good deal. It's not as slick. It's not as nice as the Apple Pencil in that the way you charge it, you have to take the end off and plug a little connector in, and it doesn't have those Apple touches, but it works functionally. It works very well. It's you have a button you push and it turns on, and you can write with it, and it'll turn itself off automatically if you set it down and don't use it for a couple of minutes. It'll depower itself and stuff. It's pretty nice, really.
Well, the Apple one has no great shakes in terms of interface.
One other thing I wanted to mention, I forgot to mention, is if you don't have an Apple Pencil, or if you're just using your finger, you can notice down here you have the A, that's scribble, but the second one is just a regular pencil for drawing. If you use that second one, you can write an address like
Should right.
Does the Apple Pen work with all iPads or just the most recent ones?
The most recent ones. This is an iPad Pro from 2015, but after about 2015, 2016, they started making it available for the regular iPads and for the iPad Air now and for the Pros.
So my iPad Air 2 or whatever it is
will not support it, no.
Okay.
So if I do an address, so 1282 South Lamar, Austin, Texas. And this is not scribble, this is just regular drawing, so you can do this with any stylus. You take it off and you see the line. So now you can touch it and it will open it up in Maps.
Oh, that's cool.
You can do the same thing with phone numbers and with websites.
What did you just do?
So I'll do a website, www.google.com, and then I turn off the pencil, and it's not doing it. If it underlines it, that means it's clickable. Maybe because my handwriting's so bad. Well, it's not working now, but
maybe
there
you have too many things on the screen. Oh, it underlined.
Oh, there it goes. Yeah. There's google.com. And there's the phone number. And that just goes straight to iMessage on the iPad. All right, so that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. There's actually some more elements of the new iOS 14 and iPadOS 14 that Nathan is very interested in, and we'll hopefully have him giving some tech tips as we go along. Okay, next is Cokie, and she's going to talk about drawing neat shapes and emoji customization.
Uh-oh. Start broadcast. All right, I got it now. Forgot to turn my notifications off again. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, first we're gonna do creation of emojis. Memojis. Okay, and the first place you go to, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. First place we go to is messages. And down at the bottom, you see a bunch of things down at the bottom here. Oops, didn't want that one. There's a picture of a person with hearts around it. And that's where I'm gonna go. Okay, here are the old emojis, and they're different shapes and things, and they're all along there. So you can play around with them as well. But then you go over to the plus sign over here, and then this is where you create your own Memoji. So you can make it really interesting, different colors, or you can just use a regular face, darker if you want. And then down here, you can go put some freckles on it if you want some freckles, maybe a little bit of freckles on it. And then down here are cheeks if you want to put a little bit of blush on the cheeks. Well, I think I'll pick this one, the little blush on the cheeks. And then you have beauty spots, and I'm going to skip that one. So now I'm going to go to hairstyle. So again, you can change the color of the hair if you want. Make it true blonde. And then you go down here, and then you can pick the color or however you start, whatever style you want. And I think I'm going to pick this one here. So you can go and pick any one you want. Then you have brows. You can make the brows, you can make them any color too. So I think I'm going to give her some kind of goldeny looking brows. And then I'm going to pick one here. Okay. So you can play around with these, and you could look at, there's a bunch of them. And then under that are like facial spots or anything that you want to put on your face or whatever. You have what is it, piercings. You can put some piercings in your nose or around your eyes or whatever. And then the next place you go to, and then again, you can use different colors. So there's different colors that you can use when you're doing those. Then you go to eyes. So you can pick the color of eyes, and you can go to this one, and then you get a lot more eyes. So I'm going to give her some purple eyes. Nah, no pink. We're going to go pink, and we're going to go dark pink. So it'll be different. And then I will give her this on this kind of look. Okay. And then the next thing I'm going to do is eyelashes. Okay, let's see. I think I'll go with that one. Let's go. Yep. Okay. Then you got the head shape. You can make the head shape any shape you want. You can make them older, younger looking. So maybe I'll go very young looking. And then the shape of the head. You can pick whatever shape you want. There we go. And the next is the nose. And I think she needs a little nose. So then you go next, you go to nose piercings if you want one. I'm not into that, so I'm not going to do that. Then you can pick mouth, big lips. There we go. And I'll give her some bright purple lipstick. Then you have teeth. You can make her show her teeth. You can give her this one. see if that one will go. That one, kind of cute. Okay. And then you have mouth piercings, which I don't do. You can have her stick her tongue out. We're going to look at that one. That one looks cute. Why aren't you working? That one doesn't seem to want to work. Let's make her tongue. Huh, that one's not working well. Okay, then you have ears and then earrings. You can do earrings. I think I'll put the dangly ones on there. Then you have facial hair, and this is, you know, if you want to put something around the ear or whatever. This is mostly for men. It's the goatees and the beards and all of that. Or you can even have a woman with a beard if you want. Then you go into eyewear, and I think I'm going to skip the eyewear, but there's all kinds of different eyewear that you can give your person. You can give them an eye patch. I'll skip that one. Then you have headgear. So here's all the different headgears and stuff that you could put on your Memoji. So you can make it any way you want. There's a lot of different ones. And then you also have the masks. So you could put a mask on her if you'd like. Okay, when you're done with that, you say done. You have created your Memoji. So when you send a message to somebody, you forgot how to do that. Let me put that down. I did it earlier with Tom. Let me do it again. Okay. Memoji, there we go. So there you go. And then you send it to whoever you're going to send to. Okay. I don't know who I sent that to, but who did I send it to? Oh, my friend Angela. Okay. Sent that. That's how you do a Memoji. Any questions? And you can have more than one. This is my first one for the iPad, so I'll just keep this one for the iPad. On my iPhone, I have 3 different ones. So do you have any questions? Hello?
Pretty cute.
Uh-oh.
If somebody's got more time than enough stuff to do, it would be cool to make one of those for each member of your family and use them as name tags on your Christmas presents or your holiday presents.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
guess who it is.
You
Was that in your app folder or is
Yeah.
that new? Where does that show up again? I didn't see where it shows up, where you find it.
you go in messages.
Oh yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did that.
And it's down at the bottom where that little girl that has the hearts around her head and glasses on and everything. That's where you hit that one, and that's when it comes up.
Messages.
And then
Thank
it
you.
gives you all these little things that you can send.
Cokie, do
Okay.
you have to have one of the newer phones or something? I know I tried to mess with it and I didn't have the option to add hair or anything.
If you have iOS 14 on there, you should be able to do it on your iPhone. You just do the same thing, go into messages and then you can make one. And you have to hit that if you're going to make a new one. Let's see. Let me get out of this one real quick. See if I can go back. If you're going to do a new one, you go to new emoji, and then it'll take you back to where you can make your new emoji. And then you can save that when you're done.
Can you modify other ones? Like the one I tried that I couldn't put hair on, can I modify it?
You should be able to
edit.
modify
Okay.
it.
Edit.
Yeah, edit. Yep. You should be able to modify. There you go. See, put a hat on her. Okay.
Okay, Cokie, are you going to cover drawing neat shapes too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Want me to do that too? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have my pencil won't charge anymore. So I just went into notes and I'm doing it dark so you guys can see how I do it. The way to do neat shapes is you can draw a circle. First you got to go up and do the pen. And then like Nathan's, it has the pencil. And I have the pencil that's yellow so everybody can see it. And I'm going to draw a circle. Now it's not a perfect circle, but when you get to the end and you hold your finger there, it'll turn into a perfect circle. You can make a triangle. And when you get to the end, it turns into a perfect triangle, or not quite perfect, but you can do a star. There's your star. You can do a heart shape. You can do a rectangle. Oops. See, I did that one wrong. So I go back here, get my eraser, and then I can just erase that one. Then go back. Oh, and you can move this thing. You can move your thing around. Like if you want it at the top, you can keep it at the top, or you can move it down to the bottom where I like it, down at the bottom. It goes for me. There we go. And then I'll go back to my pencil. Okay, hearts, triangles. Oh, oval shape. It's oval. There's that. And then I tried doing this, but it's harder for me to do this one. Doesn't always turn out right. No, it's not gonna work for me. But that's what you do with that. And so I was playing around with it. Gonna put my eraser back up here. Oops, come on, eraser. Okay, so what I was doing when I was playing around with it was I would draw things like I can make a little square, and it doesn't have to be perfect because, whoops, messed that one up. You got to be really careful about how long you hold it. Oops. Okay, make a little square. Okay, make a little thing out here, make another little square. Go, another little square here. So you can draw things. Oops, that one didn't quite work, but that's okay. I'll leave that like that, and then I'm going to make a body. There we go. Put the line back in there. And then I have leg with a square foot. You can go back and erase things if it doesn't turn out like you want. But there is a little robot. Okay, so you can draw another heart inside the heart. And if you mess up, you just go erase it. go. So when I was watching the demonstration about this, when they did it with Apple, they also said that you can do it like if you take a program from, or say you're using the pencil and you're writing notes or whatever, and you wanted to put a star on there or something, or you needed a shape of something because you're designing something or whatever, that you can write on top of that with shapes and stuff, and it makes it easier for you to do that. So you can take a recipe too and say you wanted to write or add so many cups, and you could write, make a little square for cups and put that on there. So it'd make it easier for you to read and see. So that's what that's all about. And another thing that I was drawing the other day was a little teepee. And then I saw this thing that went weird. It was like an arrow, but it didn't work that time for me, but I made a little teepee. And so you can draw little things with it and stuff. It's fun. You could also put
go ahead, I'm sorry.
You can also put pictures, like take pictures. And so if you made a big enough heart, you could put a picture in the heart or picture in the star or whatever. It's good for kids.
Cokie, is it possible to grab, say, for example, the sort of oddly shaped triangle up there? Is it possible to put handles on it and grab it and drag it into the proper shape?
Or rotate it?
In other words, is it possible to put it in a mode where you select it and it'll put handles at the vertices so you can drag them around and correct it?
I don't know. I think it kind of does.
Oh.
But I'm not sure how to do that one. I didn't find the information for that.
Well, Peter, why don't you figure that out for us and tell us next month, Peter?
Okay, I'll do that.
No, let Peter do it. Let Peter do it.
Ah, there you go.
Well,
open mouth, be a volunteer.
Yeah, there you go.
I made a hatchet.
You volunteered.
Anyway, I think it's a fun program, and you can use all different colors down here. You've got different colors. And for some reason, my color wheel wasn't working today. It just says show more colors, but it's not showing them. And I don't know why. It's been working all this week until today.
Well, of course. Thank you, Cokie. That was fascinating. And I actually agree with you. It would be great for kids to play around with.
Yep.
Okay, next.
Kids and adults.
Huh?
And adults. Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
I've been
That's true.
enjoying it.
You could actually, you just have to have a lot of time, but you could make one of these shapes and put one of those emojis in the middle of it and cut it out, and there's your gift card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now that won't work for people who just write somebody's name on the outside of the package, but
I wonder if
for people who want to get creative, it would be fun. Okay, next is Tom Weaver. He's going to tell us what's new in notes and also a little bit about the HomeKit in the control center.
Okay, let me get out of my screen here.
You're out.
I'm out. Okay, good. Oh, darn. Where'd I go? Okay. Am I out?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So that's Tom. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Cokie.
Okay, well, I'm talking about notes in iOS. And since I have never used this app before, this is going to include a little bit about how it works, as well as what's new in it. This is what the icon looks like. This is part of the iOS.
I just see a green screen with notes in iOS. Is there an icon?
Next page.
Well, I've got one. The screen that I'm supposedly sharing has got different than the other screen on it.
We're seeing notes in iOS. Great.
Tom, you might want to share your desktop instead of that individual screen, because as soon as you move to another image, you see it, but we don't.
Okay. Except my cursor's not anywhere.
You'll have to get out and come back in.
All right. Now, stop share. Let's try again.
I'd rather sit on the beach with you.
Yeah, would have been good today. Share screen. Share the keynote. Share. All right, now I do play. Everybody gets that one.
Right.
But y'all aren't advancing when mine advances.
Have you advanced?
Yes.
Why don't you try sharing the desktop instead of the particular presentation? Then everything works.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do I get to share desktop?
You need to go out and come back in, and
It'll
that's
be your top left corner when you do it.
Top left corner.
Well, you do share, and then you look at the top left, and you'll see share desktop 1.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Now we get everything.
All right.
Allegedly. Let's see.
Except you're not getting anything.
You got to double
You have
click.
to click on the image and then click share.
Bingo, you've done it.
All right.
Really?
There you go.
All right, we'll see if it goes to the next one. And we tried this the other day, and then it went.
No, you got it.
Go. It's working.
Notes is part of iOS. It's somebody else had a Notes app, and Apple got upset that everybody liked it, so they stole it. They did their own and drove the other company out of business. In order to work at the best way, you must have iCloud enabled if you want your notes to be shared across devices. And that's one of the great features of Notes, is they're sitting out there on the cloud. And if you think of something while you're at the grocery store or something, you could make a quick note, and then when you get home, it'll pop up on your computer. Or if you, while you're working at your computer, you think of something you need to add to the grocery list, you can do that. And then it'll show up on the note where you have all your grocery list when you're at the grocery store. To create a note, you start by tapping on the app, or you can ask Siri. You can tell Siri to start a new note, or from the command center, if you added the Notes app there. And if you're a note person, you probably want to add Notes app to the command center. And we'll talk about that when I talk about the other control center in a minute. The first line of the note is the title of the note, and that's what you're going to see when you see a list of all your notes. You may pin a note, which makes it stay at the top of the list of notes. And you can have a bunch of notes pinned, and you can make all the pinned notes get out of the way for a minute while you look for something else or whatever. People who use Notes usually have a lot of notes. And to pin a note, you swipe right over the note, or you can tap more, which is that icon with the circle with the dots in it, and then you tap the pin, which looks like a push pin.
Yeah.
one of the nice things you can do notes is you can draw, you can create checklists, you can scan and sign documents. In other words, you can use the camera on your phone while you're in notes, and you can get stuff in. And you can add attachments, photos, videos, web links, whatever. You can add all sorts of stuff. It's usually easiest to add an attachment after the note has been started by going to the source of the attachment, click share, and then select the existing note that you have out there. You can keep notes in folders and subfolders, so you can have all the notes associated with a particular project grouped together. You tap the arrow to see a list of your folders, and you can create a new folder. Drag the new folder into an existing folder if you want to. And then you name the folder and tap save. Search can read typed or handwritten notes. And that handwritten notes is so cool. If you're there on your phone and you just want to write something down real quick, when you've had an inspiration, you don't want to sit there with a keyboard on your phone that's way too small for your fingers. The search, when you do a search may be able to recognize objects in the images. For example, if you take a picture of a car and then you do a search for CAR, it may figure out, okay, that's a car in that photo. And it will bring you to that note that contains the photo of the car. The search has been greatly changed in iOS 14. And like I say, your notes may be handwritten or typed, and it can figure out the text in either one of those. Action menus. Tap the more icon and you see the actions available for whatever it is that you have selected, whether it's a note, a folder, or whatever. Some of the common actions are delete, pin, lock, share, send a copy, which is different than share. Share means they get to see it and they can change it. Send a copy, they just get to see what you have done. You search, move, add grids or lines, scan a document into a note. Those are some typical actions, but that's not a complete list. There are styles with notes. To change the text style, tap and hold the AA icon, and you get a whole bunch of options, more than you really want. But if that isn't enough options, just tap the AA instead of holding it, and you get a panel with gazillion options, italics, all caps, whatever, all different fonts. Each person is going to use notes in a way that matches their thought process and their organization method. And thankfully, Notes is now set up where it can adapt to the way each person does things instead of everybody having to adapt to the way that the programmer that wrote Notes did things. Yes?
May I add a little note to Notes? When I first started using Notes, I didn't realize that there was a choice of where notes could be stored. It can either be stored in the cloud or it can be stored on the device. And I had been alternating as to where I was storing, not realizing my different notes. And I would go to search for a note and I would be looking in iCloud, not realizing it, and looking for a note that I know I had put on my device and I would not find it. So in the beginning, you might want to set up for saving only in the iCloud or only on the device, with the caveat iCloud shares across devices.
Right. The other thing is that if you have a note that you want to keep private, you might want it only on that device. And another thing you can do with notes is you can require a password for an individual note or an individual folder. And that way, if somebody gets hold of your device, or if it's something that's on the cloud, and they get to a different device or something, they can't get those notes that you have private. Something you might want to do that with is the list of Christmas presents for your spouse.
Now, how would you want to do that?
But a surprise. Any other questions about notes? Okay, let's go to HomeKit. Now, HomeKit is something I'm very interested in.
Me too.
I want to do home security, do all sorts of transferring stuff from one TV to another, to the computer. I've got a bunch of videos on hard drives that I want to play on the main TV. I don't have stuff set up to do that. HomeKit is a good way to do lots of things. One of which is home security. Okay. To get home the home app to really work nicely, you need to have it in the control center. Now, you don't have to. You can go search for the app every time, but having it in the control center makes stuff a whole lot better and faster. The way you do that is you go to Settings, Control Center, scroll down to Home, and select Plus, and that's the home icon. That puts it in your control center, and then you can move it around to where you want in your control center. And if you want notes in your control center, just follow the same procedure. You must have iCloud enabled in order to get Home to do the things that you want to do. You can only add accessories to Home using an iPhone, iPad, or iPod. You can't add stuff to Home from your computer. The way you do that is you turn on the accessory and be near it. Use your camera to scan the QR code for that accessory. Or if the accessory has the little broadcast symbol, hold the iPhone or whatever you're using near that accessory, and it will usually usually pick it up and say, "Hey, is this what you're wanting to add?" Tap Allow, and then that accessory will be added to Home. Name the accessory. That's very important that you name it something that you can figure out what it is, and assign it to a room. We'll talk about rooms in just a second. Tap Next and then Done. You use the Home app to create rooms, and then you add rooms into zones. For example, I may have zones in my house of upstairs, downstairs, garage, patio, sheds, front yard. I could have all those zones, and within a zone I can have several rooms. You tap the Home button in the control center, and the screen will show favorite scenes, which are the most common groups of actions, and favorite accessories, the most commonly used accessories. You can customize this a bit. Tap the down arrow next to favorites, and you'll see list of favorites by room. That can get you to whatever it is you're wanting to control at the moment. The control center may show accessory controls and that you may want to use based on the time of day and other factors. In other words, at 8 in the morning, I may not see the same set of accessory controls that I would at 8 in the evening. It's just what's appropriate. Turning on a light will be further down in the list in the middle of the day than it is in the evening or early morning. In iOS 14, HomeKit status messages are displayed as icons instead of text. This is one of the things that's different from iOS 13. And these are some examples. Tells you some lights are on, your air conditioner's cooling, and something's moving in the kitchen, therefore it must be occupied. And the occupancy detector, by the way, can be tweaked so it would or would not, at my choice, detect my cat in the kitchen.
Mhm.
The HomePod Mini. Oh, this is a cool little device. It became available on the 6th of November, and it's 99 bucks. Part of smart home. It's a total intercom system, and it works with all Apple devices.
Yay.
It's a speaker. If you put multiple of them in a room, it'll say, oh, there's multiples in this room, therefore we're going to do stereo. More information on HomePod will be available at the CapMac General Meeting on the 12th of January, when the topic will be home security and automation, presented by professional experts that John Purvis is trying to get signed up right now. And that's all I've got. Nancy, do you want to jump in and talk about that the home automation, home security book that from Take Control Books?
Well, just to point out that Take Control has a new book available that's all about this topic. And if you sign into Take Control Books, you can get a Mac User Group member discount, but it's an excellent book. I think I got it, but I can't remember right now. But if you really want to pursue this for yourself, I strongly encourage you to get that book, because all of those books are written for general knowledge folks, not tech experts. And it's called probably HomePod. If you go into their website, you'll find it. But I do recommend it.
What is it that you have to do to get the discount, Nancy?
You know what? I think you just have to have the code that is only available through your mug. Let me research that, and I will add it to the information we put on the website. How about that?
We got to be careful what's on the website. If we can't put the code out there. It can only go to members.
No. I'm not talking about the code. I'm talking about how to get it, who you need to contact or whatever.
Okay. And while I've got the floor here, I need to know who CJ is for the list of attendees. CEEJAY.
Who might be muted at the moment.
Who is muted at the moment.
Okay, get with Tom. Tell him who you are. Our next presenter is Robert Fraser, and he's going to talk about the new tap your phone and sound recognition features.
By the way, in the chat window, CJ just said that his name's John Alexander and he's a friend of Tom.
Okay.
Oh, a visitor. Okay.
A friend of which Tom?
Morris.
Tom Morris. He's the Aggie that lives across the street. He's a good friend, and he's one of my 5 Aggie friends.
Across the street from you or from that pub that you're in?
That pub is in North Yorkshire, Thomas. I put that up there just for you. And it's the Theakston Brewery in Massam, North Yorkshire.
You're just rubbing it in.
Well, I thought.
Okay, Robert.
I put up with competition with Tom. This is my background's a video of south of the Great Barrier Reef. How about you, Tom?
Oh,
Anyway, competing videos of the beach.
Oh,
The beach is a good place to be.
just a second. I'm getting there. I'm supposed to know how to do this.
Did you put it on Zoom?
Yeah, I'm there. Can y'all
I'm
see
just
me?
kidding. Just playing.
yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. I think for some reason, well, anyway. So you can see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let me get off of that. And I'm going to go to settings. And we're going to be talking about settings in for accessibility. So I'm going to go down to where it says accessibility here. And the first one I want to talk about is the one for back tap, which is under touch, where there's physical and motor here. If I go to touch and I go all the way down to the bottom, it has a thing for back tap. Right now I have this off. What this amounts to is when I turn it on, I can choose for 2 different taps on the back of my phone. I can double tap or triple tap and it'll perform an action. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here's double tap. Right now it says none, so I'm going to touch none, and it's going to give me the options of things that I can do. So I can choose any of these things from the system, which is app switcher, control center. You can see kind of everything that you can do for those. Accessibility, you can do assistive touch and smart invert and a few other actions you can choose. You can do scroll gestures using double tap. What I imagine Christian's going to go more into this, but one of the more powerful parts of this is you can actually do a double or a triple tap and start up a shortcut, which I think Christian's going to talk about later. What I did was, for instance, I really find it awkward how you do a screenshot of your phone. So I chose screenshot as my double tap. So now it comes back and it'll show that as double tap. Now, if I choose none for triple tap and I want to go, I don't really have one for it, but if I wanted to go to, probably not a good one, but well, I'll say app switcher. I'll go there. So now when I'm on my computer and I'm at the screen, for instance, if I kind of firmly tap the back of my phone twice, with any luck, come on, there it goes. It will take a picture of my what's on the screen, and then it'll of course put it into my photos, and you can edit it or do whatever. This is kind of handy if you're gonna, if maybe you've run into a problem or something and you want to show somebody, you can do the double tap and get out of that and go to attach it as a message or something to somebody that maybe will help you. If you do triple tap, it takes you to the screen settings that you have. So you can make whatever choices you want to under accessibility, touch, back tap, and have access to various functionality. The second thing I was going to talk about is got to go back to accessibility. And if I go down past touch and I go to hearing, you see you have sound recognition. And honestly, I haven't had much luck with this, but if you turn sound recognition on, you can go here where it says sound, and you can turn on, if you, I don't know how you hear fire, but you can hear sirens. I don't know how you hear smoke either, but anyway, cat, dog, car horn, doorbell, door knock. I've got door knock turned on, and I'll demo that in a minute, and it won't work. Or baby crying. I don't have a baby to cry, so I'm gonna knock real loud. I don't think it's gonna come up, but when it does come up, it comes up at the top with just a quick notification that says, so that I think I hear knocking. And I've got an iPhone 8 Plus. I'm sure you can hear me knocking. And it's doing nothing. Now, in 2 or 3 minutes or after I shut down my phone, it may come up and say that it was knocking, but like I say, I haven't been real impressed with this function, but it's supposed to be cool. I've also tried it with the doorbell, and even holding it up right to where the doorbell ringer is, it's not real receptive. I'm hoping that maybe if you have a newer phone, that it works better, but with mine, it doesn't work real well.
Could you record the sound of your doorbell?
I guess you could, but like I say, even if I held it up when I had Jill out front ringing it, it still doesn't bring it up. Or if it does, it's kind of after the fact. It's not real responsive, at least for me. Like I say, if you've got one of the newer phones, maybe it's better. But with my 8 Plus, it's not doing much. So I'm sorry about that demo on that, but that's kind of what I found when I was working with it. But that's how you get to it. I can see how it might be helpful if it does, try it with your doorbell or somebody knocking on your door and see if it works for you. But it hasn't worked very well for me. And that's basically all I had to show you.
Thank you, Robert. One thing that I've noticed as I've talked about this with other people is if you have a case that is fairly thick, the tapping on the back is not going to work as well or as often as if you don't have one.
And that could be,
okay.
I don't have a big case, but that could be what's part of my problem is.
Yeah, I don't know. I know some people have, really super heavy cases and they're not going to have much luck, but I have a clear plastic case on mine and it works okay.
Yeah, mine works okay for the back tap. It just doesn't work very well for the sound recognition.
Well, maybe they need to improve it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Robert. And last but not least is Christian Boyce, who's going to talk about shortcuts. And Christian is now a photograph.
Right, well, we're going to change that. So me already, I didn't know it was my turn already. That's great. I was actually chewing. All right, so I'm going to talk about shortcuts. Now, shortcuts aren't strictly new to iOS 14, but they've been improved. So you may have missed them in iOS 13, so it may sort of seem like a new feature to you anyway. So we'll pretend they're totally new, but they're much better than before. There's more starting points, and it's more integrated with the operating system, so it doesn't feel quite so tacked on. So let me talk about what it is a little bit. I'm gonna attempt to share my screen here. I'm gonna use my iPad because you can do shortcuts on the iPad, same as you do on the Well, it would help if I did it right. Let me just hold on a minute here. Do you see, anyone see my iPad? Can you see my iPad?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. Okay. Does it show like a big 641 on the screen right now?
That shows work
Yeah.
in 926. It's like a zoomed in version.
Look, yeah, it looks like it's zoomed in.
Okay, there's something amuck here. Let me just see what's going on here. All right, I'm gonna let me stop that sharing. I'm just gonna try that one more time. So I'm gonna share a screen. Yes. I'm gonna share my iPhone, iPad via a cable. Cross your fingers. We did this before and it worked, right? How's it look now? Good, bad?
So the
Just
same
the
way.
same.
Actually, it was zoomed in before also, as I recall.
I wonder why. Okay, no good reason for that.
Have you got it on full screen or partial screen?
Partial. Let me just try that again to make sure that's the case. I might have hit a full screen once upon a time. Actually, I think what's happened is when I'm in the speaker view, I think that's when we see the funny stuff. Let's try this one more time. How's that? Better, worse, the same?
Same.
Same.
Okay, we're gonna do something else. How about if I rotate it? Better? Does it look like it's rotated?
No.
No.
No change.
No.
Okay, that's really strange. Okay, here we go again. I think what you see is my you see my computer screen, or do you see my iPad screen?
Pas change.
It just says work 926 and there's a folder.
Yeah, I think, oh, what you're seeing there, sorry, I think what you're seeing over there is, yeah, you're seeing my Mac screen. It's supposed to be sharing, you're supposed to be sharing my iPad screen. It's not sharing. So I'm going to try that one more time. You weren't seeing the iPad, you were seeing the Mac.
Okay.
So we'll try this one more time. We've done this plenty of times. It's not that hard. Okay. Just a minute. I'm gonna leave the meeting maybe and come back in because this I know. Well, I'm gonna try one more. I have more than one way to do it.
It's doing different that time.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, we didn't see the folder. It was just a white screen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get the little zoom
I was
arrow.
wondering how people were sharing their iPhones, because it looked like people had their iPhones that they were scrolling through. So maybe that's something we can talk about. How do you even do that?
It's easy. It's really cool.
I can. It's
How's
under.
this? Does that look like an iPad screen now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so what I did is for those who ever want to do this, I was trying to share it through a cable, which is usually the easier way to go. But it worked an hour and a half ago, and without anything happening over here, it quit working. So now I'm sharing it through AirPlay. So it's just the same way that you could AirPlay your iPad or your iPhone to your TV. I'm AirPlaying it to my Mac and then to you. So, okay. So I want to talk about shortcuts a little bit. The icon for it is this one down here at the bottom right of my dock, second from the right. This thing looks like a stack of pink and blue. So let's start this thing up. So what shortcuts lets you do basically is it lets you run step-by-step actions and string them together and do things that you would have maybe had to do by hand. And look, nobody's really complaining about how hard things are to do on their iPhone, but if you can automate them, you can make some really difficult things really easy. So you build them up step by step, and it does take a little bit of study to get good at this. So I'm going to give you a few examples of shortcuts that I've made. And by the way, the shortcut app, if you don't see it on your phone or you don't see it on your iPad, it is an Apple app. You can go to the App Store and get it for free. Some people don't seem to have it on their device, but go get it for free, and it'll look on the iPhone. It looks a little bit different than this, but not much. And I'm using the iPad because it's simpler to work with. Okay, so let me show you a shortcut that I made that just speaks the date and the time and the weather. And you see, I've got this button on the screen here that's. Let's see if I can draw a box around it so you can see this guy right here I'm going to tap this from within the Shortcuts app. I'm going to tap it, and hopefully it does something, and hopefully you hear it. So if you don't hear it, it's going to be pretty boring. So let's try. Somebody let me know if you hear this.
Hello, it's November 10th, 2020, 6:46 p.m. Here are the current weather conditions for your location. 55.4 degrees Fahrenheit and clear.
Okay, was that audible to people?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
So now it's, how big a deal is that? Well, I mean, you could certainly tell Siri to tell you what the time is and what the weather is. You don't need to make a shortcut to do it. But the thing about the shortcut is you can trigger it a number of ways. And one way is to come here and push the button and make it go. But another way is, there are many other ways. Another way is to trigger it via Siri. And I have to look at my cheat sheet to see all the ways that there are to do it. Siri can do it. You can put an icon on the desktop of your, the home screen rather, of your iPhone or iPad and tap that. In some cases, you can put it in a share sheet. So in the same way that you might go to, say, look at a photo and hit the little share button and do something, you can hit the share button and run one of your shortcuts. And I'm going to do that tonight. You can also have them go in an automatic way based on various things. So I'm gonna do that here. I'm going to show you how to make the shortcut in a minute, but let me just show you how we can trigger it so you see sort of the value. So when you're dealing with shortcuts, there's a lot of little things to tap on. And one of the things to tap on is here, the top right corner of each shortcut has these 3 dots, and good things happen when you hit the dots. So I'm gonna hit the dots now on this date, time, and weather one. Okay, and so in here, what we see is these are the steps. These are the steps that ran my script. And so first thing I did is I got the current date. I formatted the date a certain way. I'll show you that later. I get my weather here, and then I have it say these things out loud. Okay, but now I promised you I was going to show you how to trigger it. And so the way we trigger it is, once again, you see dots, another set of dots up here. So let's see what we can do with those dots. So I'm going to tap that, and you can see that we have various things we can do. Like I can add it to the home screen, as you see here. That would put an icon on my iPad's home screen. And that would be fine, except that's not really what I want to do. In fact, I want to do something completely different. What we do, so I've actually took you to the wrong place. Some shortcuts are triggered by tapping, and others are what they call automations. And so what I have to do is I have to leave this area, and I'm going to go back up here at the top left. You can see where it says My Shortcuts. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go to where it says Automations in this list. So this is a list of all your shortcuts. You see them there in where it says all shortcuts here. This is all of them. But
You want to go outside?
I want to go here to automation. All right. Is there a question there? Did I miss it?
Cokie needs to mute her mic.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, so here I'm going to go to where it says automations, and you'll see not every shortcut is an automation. Okay, but every automation is a shortcut. So let's look at the ones that I've made that are shortcuts, that are automations. So I'm going to tap automations, and we see all these things. And you can see I have some shortcuts here that are running based on schedules. So I'm going to say, I'm going to make one now. I'm going to hit that plus up at the top, and I'm going to say I want to have this shortcut run every day from my iPad. I'm going to say it's 6:52 p.m. Okay, for me, because I'm in California at 6:52. So a personal automation means it runs on this device. So I'm going to hurry up and do it before the clock rolls over. I'm going to say time of day. I want every day at 6:52. If I type it right, Okay, 6:52 p.m. I want it to run a shortcut. And what are we going to do? Well, I have to hit next up here, and they're going to say, okay, what do you want to do? Well, I'm going to tell it to run a shortcut, which I got to go find real quick. So here's one of my shortcuts. They say, which shortcut? I'm going to run. You see where it says run shortcut. I'm going to run the one that I just was talking about. And this is my big list of shortcuts. And I think it was called, I sure hope I remember what it's called. Read, I think it said, time and date and weather, right? Okay, I think it was this one. I sure hope it was.
I think it was speak, date, and time.
Was it speak, the one that said speak? Okay, let's just go look at that again. Thank you very much. Speak, date, and time, and apparently and weather. I can trigger it down here at the bottom right. You see there's a little arrow, so I can play it and just see if it works.
It's November 10th, 2020 at 6:52 p.m.
Okay, so that one only did the time, but I'm going to, let me find the other one that did the weather. I know it had the word weather in it, so let's.
There it was, date, time, and weather.
Okay, good, thank you. We'll use that one. And so if I were to trigger it by hand, you know what it does, allegedly. There it goes. A little on the quiet side there.
Change your trigger time.
Okay, yeah, so we just missed the time. Well, fine, I'm gonna say next, and I'm gonna change the time so it'll do this again for us in a minute. So let me look at this one that says 6:52. We'll just change this real quick here and make this 6:53. And we'll hopefully get out of this and it'll run. So meanwhile, I'll be doing something else. So the idea is that I missed 6:53 too, didn't I? Okay, one more time. We'll do it. We'll make it 6:55 so I don't mess up. The point is that these things can do things for you. Like I have one that reminds me at 8 o'clock every day. You see the second one down. What this one does is I'll touch it and you'll see it does a few things here. Here's the steps that it does at 8 o'clock. It gets the date, it gets the time, and it tells me to speak. This one that's where it says run here, it's another shortcut that tells me just out loud, it's time to write on your blog. But it knows that if it's a weekend, as you can see, here's a second option. If it's a weekend, I get the day off, allegedly. So this is just sitting there on my iPad all the time. And every single day at 8 o'clock, it runs that shortcut and it decides, what it should do. It's going to say stuff out loud to me. Now, today we're going to have one in 1 minute that's going to give us the date and the time, which is total, really silly example, but I just want to show you that you can set it to run on a schedule. And then, which is really powerful because I have another one that reads my appointments to me every day as well. And that's pretty useful for me. I then know what I have to do that day. So that's a good thing. So waiting for 6:55 here. And then I'm going to show you how to make a shortcut and then we'll wrap this up. I'll just go do something else so you can see that I don't have to be in the shortcuts when this happens. This is the longest 60 seconds of my life, Okay, so allegedly it's 6:55. It should be going off. It probably did go off and I probably have the volume off. All right, well, possible mistake there, but trust me, it works in real life. This is in showing off, it's not working so well. I wanna show you a shortcut, all right? I wanna show you a shortcut that is triggered with a share sheet thing, right? So I take a lot of pictures and I want to send the pictures to, let's say I want to send them to Carolyn and I'll send it to me too, just to show you can send it to 2 people at once. So I've made a shortcut here and I called it CapMac 2. And what this one does, I'm gonna start, actually I'm gonna build it from scratch. So this will be a little bit scary, but I'll just do it. So here I go, I'll make a new one. I'm gonna hit the plus And here you are with a big empty page, all right? It looks scary, but it's not. I know I want to deal with pictures. So I'm going up here, I'm look for photos. And what you do when you see photos, you get to see all the things that it knows how to do. Okay, so I'm going to say, let's do select photos. So I'm going to touch down at the bottom where it says select photos. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select some photos. And then I know that I want to make an email with the photos that I've selected. But see, the advantage here is I'm going to be able to address this email in advance to Carolyn and to me. And so when I share the picture, instead of having to send it to her and then send it to me separately, I just one shot and it's done. So there's one little piece I need to do here. Look for images, and there's I want to get these images. So I've selected the photos, but they're just sitting there in the Photos app. Now I'm passing them down here to Photos, and now I'm going to mail these things. So I'm going to send an email. And what am I going to send? I'm going to send these images that I just had. And who am I going to send them to? I'm going to send them to Carolyn. And I'm going to also send them to me, just so you can see that I can address this to more than one person at a time. That's the whole point here. So I'll hit the plus, and we'll send it to me as well. Okay, here's me, and I'll send it to this email address. Okay, so we're gonna send it to these two people. So imagine if you had a group that you were part of, and you wanted to be able to automatically zap a bunch of pictures out to them without having to do the work of addressing it. Well, this is how you do it. So I'll set this up, and I'll say, you know, here are some pics, and that's all I'm going to do. Okay. Now, when you do a shortcut like this, sometimes you see options like at the bottom of this mail thing where it says show more. I'm going to go to show more, and you can see here that I don't even need to see the composing of the email. I can just go. And so I'm going to turn that off. I don't want to see it. I just want it to go. So let's try this thing out. So this shortcut right now has a bad name. It's called New Shortcut 1. I'm going to click up. I'm going to tap up here where the dots are. I'm going to name it. I'm going to call this Pics to C and Me. Okay. So I know who C is. And what we're going to do now, what we're going to do now is we're going to drop this screen down here. I'm going to add this to the share sheet. So remember, the share sheet is that thing where when you see, in fact, you see one up here. That's the share button. So when I hit that button from now on, it's going to include my little shortcut here. So we'll say done to that, and let's go see this thing work in real life. And finally, you'll see something of value here. I have to tell you that with shortcuts, the thing about shortcuts is they're really personal, right? You have to dream up what you want them to do. So your stuff is going to be very, very personal. Whatever it is you want to do, you have to dream it up, and you kind of have to create it, because this is like, it's like giving somebody an erector set, and now you have to decide what to build, or a big bucket of Legos. You have to decide what to build. So let's go see if this shortcut works. So I'm gonna go to the pictures here. I'm gonna select some pictures at random here. Here's a nice picture of a woodpecker. Here's a screenshot. Here's a picture of a little bird down here. Here's another picture of the bird. So I've selected 4 photos in Photos, just like you would. And now I see that little share sheet thing down here. We've all seen this a million times. And I'm going to tap that, and I get the share sheet. I mean, this is what you're supposed to get. But in here, if I scroll, you will see, I hope, we'll see the thing that says Pics to C and Me. You see it right here. Because remember, in the shortcut, I told it to add it to the share sheet. So now, theoretically, I touch that, it creates an email with those 4 pictures in it, sends a copy to Carolyn, sends a copy to me. So let's just try it and see. Here we go. So I tap it and some things happen here. And I'm going to, let me clear off my annotation here. I think I've done it. So I'm going to just switch back to mail and I'm going to see if it went. Okay. It's exciting here. Nerve-wracking. If I didn't do it right, I'll use one that's canned that I already made, but I think it's coming. Okay, it says it's downloading one email, so this could be it. This could be my thing. Not yet.
It was there.
Almost there. These are somebody else's emails. These are customers begging for help here. So,
Hey, Kristen,
maybe.
somebody thinks that noticed that the shortcut that you sent to say the date and time, maybe you put it for 6:55 in the morning.
It's possible.
It may start talking to you tomorrow.
That's nice. Yeah, it might. So I just I'd love to see this email come through with my pictures because I know I can do it. If I didn't do it, I'll do it with the shortcut that I made when I wasn't rushing like I was here. So let's look at the photos again. I think this one did it. I think I called it CapMac 2. And you see there's the pictures already in. Now this one I showed the sheet, right? I'm actually showing the email and I don't really want to. So I'll mail it this time. I do it the hard way this time, but let's just look at this one that I made especially for us called CapMac 2. Look at the shortcut. I just want to show you here. I'll tap the dots up here. And you can see that if I tap where it says show more down here, you see it says show composed sheet, right? But it's only automatic if it's automatic. So I'm going to turn off the composed sheet. Okay. So now that we've done that, now if I run this thing that's called CapMac 2, so I'm going to go back and select some more pictures again. I'll get different pictures than last time, all right? Let me select, all right, here's a picture. There's me. Okay, so I'll say, select this one, that one, and that one. Because there are I'll get 4 pictures here. Okay, so now I'll run my thing, and I'll scroll down here to my CapMac 2. And now this email is going to go flying out there without me seeing it. Okay, so it's really gone. So now when I go check my mail, and when Carolyn checks her mail, she's going to have 4 pictures, and so am I think. Now 4 pictures takes a little minute to be sent, so that's part of the delay. So while I'm waiting for that to come, I just want to show you one more thing. Oh, look, my pictures are here. Here they are, right? These are the ones I sent the first time. Here's the ones that I sent the second time without having to actually send it. It just happened automatically. So, all right, last but not least, I just want to show you in the automation part, if you have a shortcut, things can happen based on the time of day. We saw that. You can do it when you get somewhere. You can say, when I get home, run this shortcut. You can also do, when I leave, run this shortcut. You can also say, when I get a text message from the right person, it'll do certain things. You can also say, like, when I plug my phone into power, it could say, gee, that felt great, or something, you know, or thanks for the juice. So there's a lot of things that can trigger it. A lot of ways to do it automatically, a lot of ways to do it by hand. You even have, for those of you with the newer phones, you can do an NFR sticker where you can just swipe the phone on top of a sticker and it'll do it. All right, so that's basically shortcuts. If you want to do a shortcut, my advice to you is to go to the Shortcuts app, look at the gallery. There's all of these starter shortcuts that Apple gives you, and they go step by step by step. Some of them are really complicated. Some of them will have like 50 steps. Some of them have 1 step, but This is where you learn, is in the gallery. All right, that's all I've got for you. I think that'll do it.
Christian, I have a question.
Yes.
For example, it says when you return home or when you arrive at the gym, does that involve geolocation? In other words, you tell a specific, within a certain geographical area, and it goes, "I'm there," and knows, right?
Yes, that's exactly what it does. If we look at the automation again, let's say I make a new one here, and I'll say it's personal automation. Actually, it probably makes more sense to do that with your iPhone. But remember, the shortcuts sync with iCloud, so you can build it on your iPad and run it on your iPhone. Yeah, your location stuff is a little bit different. When you do a time of day one, it will just do it based on the time. That's all there is to it. It just does it. But when you do the location ones, what happens is something pops up that says you've arrived home, or you've arrived, you arrived somewhere. So I've arrived home, and then that will be on the screen, and you have to tap it to run the shortcut. So there's a little bit of interaction there. I think the idea is if you were to, let's say you have a shortcut that runs when you come home, and maybe it does fancy stuff like turn on your lights and turn on the music and so on. Well, you want to do that probably once. If you got your phone in your pocket, you go take out the garbage, you come back, you don't want that to happen again. So I think that's why they float that up and make you firm it. And there are others, like when you join the Wi-Fi, for me, it would be super handy when I join the Wi-Fi to have certain things happen, but they don't happen automatically when you join a Wi-Fi. It knows you joined the Wi-Fi, but it still floats up a little dialog box asking, do you want to run this shortcut? But it's still really close to totally automatic. One of the things they did in iOS 14 that wasn't there in 13 is they allow you to send a text message without interaction. So, and the email too, as you saw, I sent my emails without having to interact with it. I just did the thing I wanted to do, and it just went. We could do a whole class on shortcuts someday. Probably might not be a general meeting thing, but I'd be glad to give a class on that. It's kind of a workshop, so it'd be a hands-on deal. Okay, any other questions about that?
Yeah, I got one. Can you record actions within an app, for example, with shortcuts? Sort of like a macro type thing?
No, not exactly. You have to assemble it from steps. The steps are called actions, and each app has a certain list of actions, but some of those actions go very deep, and you can sometimes you can do things in an action that you might not have been able to do by hand. You're sort of able to access features of an app that you wouldn't otherwise get to. But no, you can't record.
Can you use VoiceOver?
Can you use VoiceOver to trigger a shortcut or to like assemble one?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I haven't tried it. I mean, you're supposed to be able to do everything with VoiceOver, my understanding. But no, I don't know.
I'll have to go play around with it then.
Yeah, so with shortcuts, the hard part is deciding what you want to do. A lot of the things that you could do, like let's say you want to know how long is it going to be before you get home. You can ask Siri, hey Siri, how long before I arrive home? And Siri's going to say like 1 second because I'm already home.
Problems with the connection. Check out your on the same.
Sorry, my Siri started.
So here it is. They think I'm 0.2 miles from home. So since you can do so much with Siri, it becomes difficult to figure out what am I going to do that Siri can't do for me already. Like I could ask Siri, what's the weather like? But maybe what I want to do is I want to have an automation that not only tells me what the weather is, but logs it into a spreadsheet somewhere, puts it into puts it into a numbers sheet. And so I would have that. Or I wanted to text the weather to my mom who lives somewhere else and let her know what the weather's like out here. All in one move, right? So I would say, hey, Siri, read the time and weather, and then it would run my shortcut, give me my info, and then text my mom. That's not something that's built in. That's something you've got to make. But of course, you got to decide what you want to do. And that's the odds of all of you wanting to send the weather to my mom are pretty slim, right? So, I mean, she'd be glad to get, she liked the company. She'd be glad to get the mail. All right. Any other questions? Go. Yeah.
Thank
So,
you,
so
Christian.
this thing used to be called Workflow, and then Apple bought it because it was so cool. But they didn't really integrate it very well in iOS 13. It's much closer to being part of the system now than it was in 13. So if you tried it before and it seemed too hard or you didn't like it, try it again. I think you like it now.
Thank you, Christian.
Okay, let me unshare here.
This is fascinating. I didn't know you could do this stuff, so it's going to be fun to play with it. Okay, that is the end of our program. It's been a long program, but we had a lot of things that we wanted to share. Don, you have a question?
I do. I've got a brand new MacBook Pro, and I have the upgraded graphics chip in it and a large hard drive, SSD, all the cool stuff. And one of the things that I was looking forward to being able to do with it is these animated GIF virtual backgrounds. And I've noticed that several of you have animated GIFs and they're moving very nicely, but I can't get mine to move. And I'm wondering if there's something I have to do on the computer or in Zoom in order to make that function properly.
I've never tried it. I've never tried to animate them.
Tom has an animated GIF on his. A couple other people did too, especially the
Christian
beach scenes.
Yep.
I think Tom's is one
Okay,
of the ones.
will somebody volunteer to email Don with some instructions?
You're talking about the background for Zoom?
Yeah.
Yeah, the virtual background.
Well, the beach scenes and the northern lights, I think Zoom provides those as starters. There's probably some rules on having something that circle, it's a loop, and I don't know how to do that. Christian's got two of them there.
They just
what I did here. What I did here is I used Photo Booth and made a movie. Right, Photo Booth will let you've got the Photo Booth app is still there on your phone, on your computer somewhere. I recorded a movie of me sitting here in the kitchen, and then that movie from Photo Booth you can drag it out, and it's just a file sitting on your desktop. And then you can go to Zoom and you can import that movie when you're in the section that says virtual backgrounds. You bring in your own movie. So this that's how I did.
Is there any rules on what size the video can be for it to run, and what kind of platform you have to have in order to support multiple photos and videos, and you're upside down there?
See, I switched mine over to a beach scene right now, and the waves are supposed to be coming in. When I look at the animated GIF on my desktop, it works great. The waves are coming in, and there's one with a palm tree and it's waving around, but when I get it into Zoom, it won't move. And I'm wondering if there's a trick that I'm overlooking.
There are some requirements. There's one requirement level of the of equipment requirement in order to have a virtual background at all, and then there's a higher requirement in order to have it automated.
The other thing is if you have a green screen you're projecting on, so it's not having to map that on an irregular background, you may have more luck with it.
I just put
and you can just get a green tablecloth and put it on the wall behind you.
Well, it comes across nicely. I've got a perfectly good picture, but it just doesn't move.
I've got a 16.
Maybe it doesn't know how to do an animated GIF. Maybe it needs to be saved as a QuickTime movie, like a MOV.
Yeah, I just saw on a resource here that I looked up. It says Zoom does not natively support the use of GIFs as backgrounds. You have to convert it into a movie file.
Okay, I'll go do that.
All
Okay.
right. Thanks. One last thing for me before I turn it back to John. As usual, we will give 4 door prizes of $25 each Amazon gift cards. Tom will give me the name of paid members who are here tonight, and I have an app that will choose a number to match up to see who gets them. And if your name is drawn, I will not only send it to you, but I'll let you know that it's coming so that you can be sure that it doesn't get lost anywhere. And I won't do that tonight because I still have to work, but I'll get it done the next couple of days. And back to John.
Thank you, Nancy. You put together an excellent program, and we had a lot of very useful contributions from everyone.
Now I have a
think we all learned something. Say again?
And I made a Memoji thanks to Cokie telling me how.
Well, there's just so many things we can do. Is finding out how to do it. It's so difficult sometimes.
Exactly.
I've got a question for people here, maybe simpler. There are times when I can't find an application on my iPhone, and I can go to the application store. I've already got it. It'll load it, but it doesn't tell me where it is on the phone, so I can find it in the future.
If you use the search spotlight, if it's in a folder, it'll tell you it's in a folder. If it doesn't say it's in a folder, then it's just somewhere in one of your pages.
Or the Braille.
The search button on the iPhone?
To do the first couple of letters.
They're not blind.
Oh. Well, then the handwriting.
The handwriting thing will help you too.
Cokie, your
On the home screen.
microphone's live.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you, you can use the handwriting thing on the home screen and write it on there.
Where's the search on the iPhone?
It's on what version of
Is
iOS
it
are you
in the thing you pull up? The latest?
Then
Swipe down from the home screen.
Okay, so scroll up, and then there's the magnifier glass.
Swipe down. Put your finger at the top of the screen and slide it down.
No,
Yeah,
from the north. though.
No,
It's at the top.
I
You
think
swipe
swipe to the
two-
right.
3-finger swipe. Yeah.
I just swipe to the right, and the leftmost screen has search on it.
There's a
Thank you.
on,
Okay,
on
I didn't know it was swipe to the left. Okay.
You can find a search on any home screen if you put your finger anywhere but the very top and you just pull down, you'll see a search.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, that works.
Oh.
That's
easy.
super handy.
Oh, nifty. Thank you, folks.
And that's not just searching for apps, it's going to search for people and other
Sarah?
things.
Thanks, Nancy. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
Good night, all.
Night.
Right.
Well,
Right.
we'll see everybody in December, and I hope everyone will have a good month between now and then. Have a good Thanksgiving, and we'll talk again.
Don't forget your points. The end of the 300 Club CapMac Rewards points is the end of this month. I'll be sending you an email in the next couple days.
Oh, and by the way, please vote.
Happy Veterans Day to those people who have served.
Today is
you
the
for
Marine Corps,
mentioning that.
United States Marine Corps' birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
245 years, if I remember right.
That's very, very close.
All right. Well, good night, everybody. I'm going to end it.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Okay. Bye, everybody.